Welcome back, listener, to another deep dive. We are really excited for this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fascinating topic today.
It really is. So, think back to 2001. People were literally still renting VHS tapes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That feels like a lifetime ago.
Right. And by 2021, the world had just, aggressively moved through DVDs, digital piracy, decentralized streaming, and finally landed on these independent direct-to-consumer creator platforms.
The entire landscape of media just completely shifted.
Exactly. Entire mainstream media empires totally collapsed in that 20-year window. Yet, one performer in, honestly, the most notoriously high turnover, burnout-heavy industry on Earth didn't just survive that whole technological apocalypse. She absolutely dominated it.
Which is, frankly, an incredibly rare phenomenon.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at a field where the average career lifespan is measured in months, maybe a few years if someone is particularly successful. To stay at the absolute pinnacle of that specific market for 2 full decades, it requires a strategic mind that most people just never fully appreciate.
So today, we are focusing on the remarkable multi-decade career of Sarah Elizabeth Reed, who is widely known by her professional moniker, Angel Long.
A massively influential figure in her field.
Absolutely. And our mission today is to uncover how an athletic young woman from a town in England translated her really unique background into a thriving 20-year transatlantic career in the adult entertainment industry.
And demonstrating just incredible business acumen and adaptability along the way.
Totally. We've got a great stack of sources for you today, including biographical articles, deep dive industry profiles, and comprehensive award histories detailing her life and work.
It's a lot of ground to cover.
It is. Okay, let's unpack this because her surprising origin story is really where the foundation is built.
Yeah.
I mean, to show you that this is ultimately a story about career longevity and professional evolution.
Yeah, you have to look at where she started.
Right, because I was reading through these early biographical notes, and I was genuinely struggling to see the link at first.
It's definitely not a straight line.
No, not at all. So she was born on November 21st, 1980, in Swindon, Wiltshire, England. She spent a couple of years during her adolescence living across the world in Manitoba, Canada.
Quite a jump.
Yeah. But before she ever stepped foot onto a film set, her primary pursuits were competitive swimming, which, by the way, contributed to her 6-foot-tall athletic build.
Right, she was very tall, very athletic.
Yeah. And she also had a string of highly grounded, really labor-intensive temporary jobs. She worked as a nanny, and she worked in house decoration and construction.
Yes, blue-collar, demanding work.
Exactly. And lots of people do manual labor or nanny jobs in their teens, but they don't go on to run transatlantic media empires.
No, they don't.
It's almost like this oddly perfect training montage. You've got the physical discipline of a competitive swimmer, the extreme patience required of a nanny, and then the blue-collar grit of a construction worker.
It really is the perfect trifecta.
I just feel like that combination uniquely prepared her for the grueling, long hours of film production.
What's fascinating here is how those early jobs really shaped a fierce work ethic.
Yeah.
Because you have to strip away the outward perception of what a mature entertainment film set actually looks like. The final product might look polished, but the behind-the-scenes reality is just purely industrial.
Like a factory floor kind of thing.
Exactly. It is not glamorous. A typical shoot involves these grueling 12 to 14-hour days.
Well, 14 hours.
Yeah, and you are dealing with heavy lighting equipment, you've got frequent technical delays, shifting schedules, and you are expected to perform on cue under bright hot lights, regardless of how physically exhausted you are.
Oh, so it's way less of a Hollywood VIP experience and more of a blue-collar production line.
Precisely. So working in construction gave her a fundamental understanding of hard physical labor. It gave her the mental endurance to just get the job done when conditions are, frankly, miserable.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then working as a nanny gave her advanced interpersonal management skills.
Oh, like dealing with tantrums.
Right. Managing chaotic environments, keeping tight schedules, and just dealing with unpredictable behavior from the people around her.
And then you add the swimming on top of that.
The stamina.
Yeah, the intense physical discipline, the breath control, the physiological stamina required to be a competitive swimmer. It really gave her the toughness required to succeed in media.
That armor was absolutely essential because she entered the industry in 2001 at the age of 21.
Right.
And what stands out immediately in these industry profiles is that she didn't just stay in her local market.
No, she went huge right away.
Yeah, she quickly built a massive transatlantic career, working extensively in both the UK and the US markets almost simultaneously.
Which is wild, because transitioning between the European and American markets seems like it would be incredibly difficult.
Oh, it's notoriously difficult.
The sources list this unbelievable lineup of major studios she collaborated with. New Sensations, Private, Digital Sin, Vivid, Hustler, Elegant Angel, Adam and Eve, and Brazers.
Just a massive roster.
Yeah, but wouldn't the audience expectations and production styles be vastly different depending on what side of the Atlantic they are shooting on?
Completely different.
It feels like trying to be a software developer who has to build an app for both iOS and Android simultaneously, but using entirely different coding languages.
That is a highly accurate way to frame it. The underlying code of those productions is entirely different.
How so?
Well, the American market, particularly in the early 2000s, was highly commercialized, heavily structured. Studios like Vivid and Adam and Eve prioritized very specific aesthetic values, narrative-driven scenes, and a very predictable, polished pacing.
Right, more like traditional movies.
Exactly. The European mature cinema market, conversely, was known for a much more unscripted, highly demanding, and intense production style.
Oh, gotcha.
It required a fundamentally different kind of physical and mental engagement from the performer. So moving between those two is really tough.
So she had to be entirely bilingual in production styles.
Yes. And she achieved that adaptability through an attitude that industry insiders repeatedly described as an anything-goes attitude.
Just totally open to whatever the director needed.
Right. And alongside her openly bisexual identity, she could seamlessly integrate into various roles. She could do a structured, narrative-heavy American production on a Tuesday, and then fly to Europe and pivot to a physically demanding, unstructured European style on a Friday.
That's insane.
She made herself invaluable.
But wait, how do you even manage that from a branding perspective? Like, if you were shooting highly polished narrative content for one studio and then extremely intense niche content for another, don't those audiences clash?
They do, which leads us to one of the most sophisticated aspects of her early career.
The aliases.
Yes. She employed a highly strategic brand management technique by utilizing multiple aliases. The sources mention that over the years, she worked under the names Angel T, Sarah Reed, Sarah Slick, and Taz.
I noticed that list in the sources, but I didn't fully grasp the strategy behind it at first.
It's all about segmentation.
Yeah, it's essentially early search engine optimization.
It is literal SEO brand management, long before SEO was a widely understood concept outside of tech circles.
That is so smart.
By segmenting her brand, she protected her marketability. If a director needed her for a very specific, intense European niche film, she could perform under the alias Taz.
Oh, I see.
That meant if an American studio executive or just a potential mainstream fan searched for Angel Long, their search results would remain focused on her polished, narrative-driven work.
She was running a diversified portfolio of professional identities.
Exactly. To capture different corners of the market without cannibalizing her own core brand.
That prevents alienating one demographic while still cashing the checks from another.
I love that. And she was just incredibly prolific. I mean, we really have to marvel at the sheer volume of her work.
Oh, it's unparalleled.
She eventually reached over 490 films. 490.
Yeah, it's a staggering number.
Just the logistical reality of the travel, the prep, the makeup, and the actual performance for that many productions across multiple continents is totally mind-boggling. If you're enjoying the vibe, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. It really helps us out.
It really does. But, that sheer volume introduces a massive new problem.
Overexposure.
Exactly. In any sector of the entertainment industry, if you expose yourself to the audience nearly 500 times without fundamentally evolving what you are offering, the audience will get bored.
Right, they move on.
The market always moves on to the next new face.
So how do you avoid that trap when your face is literally already everywhere? You have to find a way to differentiate your craft beyond just the visual performance. And the sources point out something fascinating about her specific skill set on set.
What was it?
She became known specifically throughout the industry for her exceptional dialogue improvisation and her vocal performances during scenes.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because that feels like such an overlooked aspect of this specific field.
It is very overlooked.
Obviously, the visual component is the primary focus of films for mature audiences, but the audio, like the pacing of the dialogue, the vocal tone, the ability to sound genuinely present, that has to be what separates a completely forgettable scene from something an audience actually remembers.
Exactly. Think about it from the perspective of the director or the studio.
Okay.
If you hire a performer who relies entirely on you to script every interaction, or who just gives flat, unconvincing vocal performances, your job as a director is twice as hard.
You have to coach them through every line.
Right. But Angel Long's ability to seamlessly improvise dialogue meant that directors could simply set up the lighting, roll the camera, and trust her to drive the scene forward verbally.
She reduced friction on set. It's kind of like a character actor who just knows exactly how to punch up a script on the fly.
Yes. She easily bridged the gap between highly nuanced dramatic scenes and more intense, demanding performances. Her versatility wasn't just physical, it was performative.
But she didn't just stay in front of the camera. I really want to push back on the idea that she was just a performer, because this next step really makes her a full-fledged media entrepreneur.
Oh, absolutely. She transitioned into directing and producing her own content.
Right. The sources note she took on directing roles for major companies like Evil Angel and Television X. And then she ran her own independent website. It's like that character actor suddenly starting to direct their own indie films.
Taking control of one's own production and distribution is the ultimate key to surviving in any sector of the entertainment industry. When you are strictly a performer, your entire livelihood is completely dependent on external gatekeepers.
You only get paid when someone else says so.
Precisely. But by owning her website and directing, she captured the profit margin, she controlled her own intellectual property.
And we really see the logical result of that hard work and entrepreneurial pivot in her award history, because she has sustained award-winning recognition spanning 2 full decades.
It's an incredible run. Let's look at the timeline.
Yeah, so she debuts in 2001. By 2003, she wins a major AVN award.
Right, for a standout ensemble performance in the film Sficionato.
Alongside Jay Ashley and Pat Mine.
Exactly, and an AVN award is top tier.
So she hits the peak of the U.S. market in 2 years. But then, fast forward through the digital revolution, the whole DVD market crashes.
The industry fundamentally changed.
But she didn't stop. From 2010 to 2013, she just dominated the UK's SHAFTA Awards,
Winning 5 awards in that span.
including Female Artist of the Year in 2013, and
Yeah.
this really cool one called Best Series of 18 Years.
Which just proves her staying power.
Yeah. And then she proves it again by returning to the AVN Awards with a nomination in 2017 for Best Supporting Actress for Heart and Love.
And then again, remarkably, as late as 2021.
Right, for a specialized POV performance. So I have to ask you, in an industry known for incredibly high turnover and burnout, how rare is it to see someone nominated for major awards in 2003, 2017, and 2021?
This raises an important question regarding how we define success in controversial fields.
Oh, how so?
Well, maintaining relevance from 2001 through 2021 requires constant reinvention and an acute understanding of shifting digital market trends.
Like the POV performance in 2021?
Exactly. POV, or point of view, simulates a one-on-one interaction with the viewer. By 2021, audiences were deeply entrenched in the creator economy.
Like the independent subscription sites.
Right. They craved intimate, direct-to-camera content, not the big, polished ensemble films of 2003. She recognized that shift and adapted perfectly.
So what does this all mean? For you, the listener, Angel Long's story is a masterclass in leveraging diverse early life skills like athletic discipline and blue-collar grit into a sustainable 20-year brand. Her pivot to directing and producing is a huge lesson for anyone looking to future-proof their own career by owning their intellectual property.
Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder. In an increasingly digital world where content trends come and go in a matter of weeks, what does it truly take to maintain a fiercely independent brand across multiple continents for more than 20 years?
It takes a lot more than just showing up. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep learning, and we'll catch you on the next one.